And joining us right now live is Sports Desk football analyst and former national team player, Darren Hartmann. Welcome back to the show, Darren.
Yeah, it's great to be here. I mean, it's a sensitive subject, but I think it's something that needs to be discussed.
Let's get to it. What do you make of, first of all, you played for the national team 2 to 3 years here in the Philippines, for the Philippines. For someone to leave, you know, a national team like Özil leaving Germany, I'm sure it's pretty difficult, but what do you make of that decision, leaving the German football team?
Well, for me, he's a player of mixed descent, so he's German and Turkish. And the same way that he made a decision to play for Germany, he's made a decision not to play for Germany. Obviously, he can't take his words back, and I think it's very sad that we're not celebrating the end of Özil's international career and remembering what a great player he was. I mean, 3 World Cups, European Championships. He is a quality player, and it's just sad that there's a lot of negativity around him.
How prominent is racism in football? Of course, it is there. It's not just in football, but how about in football specifically? Because you've played, again, internationally for the country, for the Philippines. Does it happen also here in the Philippines?
I mean, it's there. I mean, I think it's going to be there whether you're in the Philippines or in Europe. It really is a part of the game that FIFA are trying to take out. But it's just having the understanding of, you know, the change. These days, yeah, globalization, these days also we live in such an ethnically diverse world that I think that we need to make that allowances, and we need to see them as players, and we need to take into consideration that when someone puts on a shirt, whether it's for a club within a country or whether it's for a country, they put it on for their reasons. There will be lots of reasons why Özil decided to play for Germany. The same way there are lots of reasons why there are players who are in the Ascals decided to wear an Ascals or a Philippine national team jersey.
There's a lot, like case in point, Neil Etheridge. He can decide to play for England, but he decides to play for the Philippines.
Yeah, I mean, Neil Etheridge, I mean, with hindsight, what if he had held on? What if he had held on? Could he have got called up for the England national team? But I'm sure that Neil doesn't regret playing for the Philippines. I know that he's very close to his culture here, and that's probably a part of the influence. Only the player knows the reason why they decide to play for a country. The fact that now Neil is in the Premier League and probably would be, say, maybe fourth choice if he was available for England, but he's not eligible anymore. He is a Filipino and English in terms of his person, but he plays for the Philippine national team. That's just the way that it works.
Another half Filipino, well, his parents are full of Filipino descent. I'm talking about the goalkeeper of the French team, Alphonse Areola. This was after France won the FIFA World Cup. A lot of people were criticizing the hype of Areola. Is he really Filipino? Saying he's not even Filipino, he didn't even play. What is your take on this? Areola getting, you know, a lot of, you know, netizens reacting to his descent, but he is of pure Filipino descent.
I've had a lot of people come up and ask my opinion on this, and the easiest way to word it is he is a member of the French national team. He is both French and Filipino in terms of his heritage, but he's a member of the French national team. He lifted the World Cup as a French player. Now, in terms of him as a person, if he plays in his heart as a Filipino and as a Frenchman, then great. That's something that we can celebrate. You can't deny someone's heritage, but he was a member of the French national team. I mean, that's the easiest way to, you know, to try to explain it.
Have you experienced, you personally, firsthand experience, Darren, or know anyone among your teammates, your former teammates, or friends, relatives who experienced such discrimination in football?
I think so. I think there was the same thing, same with Özil. Sometimes there are external influences that you have no control over. I mean, social media, I don't think anyone really has control over social media. But the good thing is in the Philippines is the culture of the Philippines. And most of us who have Filipino blood, we see ourselves as both Filipino, same as I see myself as Filipino and English. We recognise that part of the culture is family. And it's that family strength which really pulls through. So it doesn't really matter where you come from. We always find that sense of family, and we use that to work as a team. And then we understand that players who learn their trade abroad actually have a positive influence, and it's not a negative influence, and it's something that we can learn from. So we've actually learned to work in harmony, but there was times when there was tension. But I think now that the PFL is moving forwards, the national team is playing at the highest level that it's ever played at. I think that the players who were involved at the time have all matured, and now we're in a really, really good place because we understood about the ethnic diversity.
Moving forward, you didn't mention we're in a good place already, but moving forward to avoid this, to prevent this again from happening, because you never know who might, there might be a young Filipino-American, Filipino, English player who will be part of the Philippines or the national team someday. What do we do moving forward to prevent this from happening? Like Özil leaving the national team or getting a lot of criticisms here and there from social media.
I think it's just about opening our eyes. And I mean, when you look at somebody, you should see a person. When you look at a football player, you should see a football player. You shouldn't see the colour of his skin. You shouldn't see his ethnic backgrounds. You shouldn't see any of that. Because as soon as you are starting to concentrate on that, that is when you are starting to be racist. You should just see people for who they are. You should appreciate people for who they are. And from a young age, we can already start the influence. So if your coach is foreign, accept him as being here for you, the same way that if your teammate is foreign, accept him for being here, for being part of the team. And then that way, by the time you reach our age, you just see people for who they are.
That's right. Maganda yun. Thank you, Darren. Maraming salamat ulit for being on this show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, we just had Sports Desk football analyst and former national team player Darren Hartmann.